Bad. What? We need to talk about Nazis.
We did have the talk.
Why do we need to talk about Nazis? Bad. They're Nazis. We need to talk about... I don't want to talk about Nazis. Not talk about Nazis, bad. I don't...
Let's talk about Nazis.
Oh, you were recording that whole time. I don't want to talk about Nazis.
Sit up. Straight.
Okay, hi.
When the show's back. Be a lobster.
No.
You haven't read the book yet?
Nope.
Get the book.
What book?
12 Rules for Life.
Okay.
Why? That's just a plug. Okay. I'm not even going to talk about that book here. Just because you got bad posture.
Thank you, Josh. Hello.
Talk about Nazis, man.
We just recorded an episode and we're going to do another one straight
yes.
away. We're going to talk about Nazis.
That's how we're doing, right?
Nazi time.
Okay, Cain and Able story. Let's go straight into it, right?
Straight in. Nazis.
Yes. Cain and Able story, right? So I'm just gonna read that because I will be using every part of it. Okay. The Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry, and why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it." Cain spoke to Abel, his brother, and when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother, and Abel killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is Abel, your brother?" He said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground, and now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, you have driven me today away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Then the Lord said to him, "Not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold." And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Nod could also be read as the land of wandering. Okay.
What if Cain is still alive?
Oh my.
Like, what if, there's just this guy...
Cain is still alive, Ben.
Who's just walking around.
He's still alive.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, Ben. Let's get into the episode.
Bro, my mind is just...
Okay, so why did I just talk about Cain and Able? Why am I going to talk about Nazis?
Yeah, how do they link?
That's a good question, Ben. One we'll spend an episode trying to find out.
You can't just give me an answer now. You have to...
Okay, so Cain, who is Cain?
Bad boy.
Right, he's the first real human being like us. He did not exist before the fall. We do not exist before the fall. He's the first human being
Made by humans.
that's like us.
Yes.
Okay, right?
The first birthed human.
Yes. Okay. First human born of flesh. Right. And who was he? He was the murderer of his own brother. Okay. The first human to alive.
To alive. He lived.
Was the dead of his brother. Okay. Yes.
This is serious, Josh. Yes.
I was not good at English. All right. Just let that sink in, man. Right.
Let that sink in.
Yes.
You're...
Shut up, Ben.
Okay. Sorry.
That's mad, right? So we need to consider this, right? Why is the first human being a murderer of his own brother, right? I mean, people just like, oh, it's Cain and Abel. Don't be like Cain. Be like Abel, right? Blah, 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 yeah.
Don't be the first, be the second.
I don't want to be Cain. Cain sucks. But you are Cain, okay?
Oh.
You are Cain, and you do suck.
Okay.
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 Another part of the story. God gave him a divine warning. Okay. He said,
You suck.
He said you suck.
And here's a
And
mark.
And it was so.
And it was so.
Where is it? Sin is crouching at your door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it. Right? That's a warning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another thing, he cannot be killed. Okay. A mark was put on him, so no one would kill him. Right? And he spent the rest of his days in the land of wandering. Okay.
Mm.
So we've got this murderous force, right? That is the first human, right? Who can't die.
Well, I think he can't
And
die. He
even
just can't be killed.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Right. He can't be killed. Okay. And even though God warned him, he still murdered his own brother. Okay. And that represents mankind. Okay. Think about that. Okay. Now, why am I going to talk about the Nazis here? Okay. I've read a book, right? It's called Ordinary Men. Okay. Reserve Police Battalion 101 and the Final Solution, Poland. Okay. By Christopher R. Browning. Okay. This is a good book.
It's a good book.
It's a good book. So this is a small battalion of around 500 men. Okay. That's small in terms of battalions.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
This wasn't an unusual battalion. They're all like older men. They weren't like prime age. They were just like they were sort of the scrapings. They were sort of the gathering of like let's get make sure none is wasted. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
They're sort of
yes.
It's not like this is our prime. We're gonna get them with this battalion here. Right.
It's the blokes of the town, basically.
Right. It's yeah. And they just sort of did the odd jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are ordinary men, okay? And the reason I choose this example is because they were ordinary men, right? They were older men. They were not indoctrinated by the Hitler Youth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They did not grow up with Hitler, right? They didn't have these ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can't be used as an example. Well, they were just indoctrinated, okay?
Yeah.
Also, they're as soon as you're like past like 25, you can't really be indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Without like, immense difficulty, right? So, and also, in this example, you can't use the excuse of, well, they were receiving orders and they were just being punished. It was like all that pressure, anyone would have done it in that situation, but not here, right? They were given opportunities to, if you don't want to kill these Jews, you don't need to kill these Jews, and I will not punish you, right? Many of times, right? They gave them the opportunity, right? So let's give you a rundown, okay? I've got some. So these are just ordinary people, okay?
Okay.
I'm just gonna read a wee quote. This is a part of a letter somewhat like one of these people wrote, okay? These Nazis wrote, okay?
Okay.
So this is a person talking about his first victim, his first Jew he killed, okay? So this is a very old man. He was given an elderly person, okay? So it just starts writing the sentence. Could not or would not keep up with countrymen because he repeatedly fell and then simply lay there. I regularly had to lift him up and drag him forward. Thus I only reached the execution site with my other comrades, when my other comrades had already shot their Jews. At the sight of his countrymen who had been shot, my Jew threw himself on the ground and remained lying there, and then cocked my carbine and shot him through the back of the head. Because I was already very upset with the cruel treatment of the Jews during the clearing of the town and was completely in turmoil, I shot too high. The entire back of the skull of my Jew was torn off, and the brain exposed. Parts of the skull flew into Sergeant Steinmetz's face. This was grounds for me, after returning to the truck, to go to the first sergeant and ask for my release. I'd become so sick that I simply couldn't anymore. I was then relieved by my first sergeant. Okay.
That It is very explicit and quite
This
shocking.
book is full. This is not a thin book, right? There's loads of examples of that, right?
Just the cruelty and the
Yes.
pain.
Ordinary people, okay? Even people who had objections to it.
Yeah,
This guy
he just talked about the cruelty and
This
then
guy
blew the guy's
wasn't.
head
This
off.
guy wasn't like enjoying. He's like, haha, yeah.
Yeah, like the
I am enjoying
films
this, right?
that- yeah.
And so brutality, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Cain was the murderer of his brother. Okay, these ordinary men, like brutally killed these Jews. Okay, and in the book talks about like when they were executing these Jews, they showed you this the refining of their process. Okay, it was just first right, just shooting the back of the head. Okay, and the thing is, shooting someone in the back of the head with a gun may sound efficient, but it's really not efficient at all. You see. There's brains inside your head and they get everywhere, and once you kill a lot of Jews, that tends to be a mess. Okay, it tends to clog up the guns, you know, gets all your face, you know, not very efficient. Okay, and they refined their process, shooting in the back of the neck, way more efficient. Okay, less mess. This is what I'm talking about, Ben. They refined the process. It was so much death that it wasn't just death. It was like they just refined. There's so much.
How to improve
There's
it.
so much death that they learned from the death to increase the death, right? And these men, they would spend all their time getting as drunk as possible because they could not live with themselves, right? They just got drunk, right? After every before and after and during every single execution, right? And they were doing this day in, day out, killing Jews every day. Okay, thousands of Jews every single day. Okay, they got so drunk, and at the point they were completely drunk during it. I once they got to like the third or fourth time, they were completely hammered the entire way through during it. It wasn't just after and before to forget, right? How's that right? Right. Cain was given a godly warning. Sin crouches at your door. His motives were contrary to you, but you must master it, rule over it. Okay. These men were obviously not okay with this. Why would they be? They wouldn't like spend all their spare time getting drunk if they're okay with this. They wanted to forget. They want to be numb. They want to be dull. Okay, to their conscience. Right. They didn't want to experience what they were doing. They got drunk, right? They didn't want to adhere to the godly warning, okay? Because all the godly warnings we may be given, we don't have to listen to a single one of them, right? We just move on to the next Jew, okay? And I'm just gonna, if I can find it in this book, hopefully. Yeah, here it is. This is just a small list, okay? Just this one small, insignificant police battalion, okay? Reserve police battalion at that, right? Just one, like, on this one day, 1,500 shot. These are all minimum values, okay? Bare minimum, 1,500, 1,700. 960, 200, 200, 100, 1,100, right? It just goes on and on. 38,000 people in total recorded at a bare minimum by this small battalion, okay? And more, and like almost 10,000 more were deported by them as well, right? It's 5,000, 10,000, 2,000, 7,000, 5,000, 6,000, you know what I mean? It just adds up. So it's just day in, day out, right? These are ordinary men. They had the option to stop at any time. Right? Some did stop, right? After the leader guy said, right, give his thing saying you can stop. Right? Some people did. It was funny. Like the people who stopped, who didn't do it at the start, they just quit at the very start. They were stronger than the people who quitted after their first time. Because saying no before you do it is an act of strength, but saying no after you do it is an act of weakness. Because it's like, I can't live with my actions because I'm weak. Okay? That's interesting, isn't it?
It's, yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. Because it's like, I choose to continue this. I choose not to continue this because I am incapable of continuing this, okay? But other people who choose not to do it in the first place weren't saying, I'm not saying I'm too weak to do this. I'm saying I'm not doing this because
it's wrong. Yes,
and I'm making a stand for it, right? Ordinary man, okay? And so it say this doesn't account for the people who left, okay, during a minute, but say there's 500 people, okay, and these are minimum values, right? That's around 80 people each killed and 90 people each deported, okay? If it's 500 and no one left, okay, and if it was that bare minimum of what was recorded, okay, more than likely, many more, okay, 80 people, you know, being most generous, 80 people, as in to the conservative side, 80 people, right? Just think about that, man.
I know, like, what you've said has been very shocking and very powerful. Like,
these guys were not indoctrinated. These guys did not think that killing Jews were a good idea, right? They weren't inherently racist, most of them, right? They were given the opportunity many a time. Yeah, they killed regularly. Every day for a prolonged period of time. Okay? And Cain cannot be killed. Right? There's a mark. Lest someone finds him and kills him. He knows not he shouldn't kill him. It's got the mark. Right? Cain cannot be killed. Right? Cain represents the murderous aspect of humanity.
Yeah.
Okay? This isn't a learned process. Cain did not watch some YouTube video and feel like, oh, this is possible. I can murder my brother. It's possible to hate someone. It's part of our human nature to murder our own brothers. Okay? This is why I'm talking about Nazis, man. Okay?
Okay.
I've got a line here. Nazis were just like you. Contrary to what you may want to think, they were just like you.
Ordinary men.
Ordinary people. Some you could have considered good men. I have no doubt. Right? Most people you hang out with you probably say, oh, they're good people. Right? They were the Nazis, man. The Nazis were them. You're the Nazis. The thing that caused the Nazis to kill countless number of innocent people is found within you. Okay? And it cannot be killed. What do you think about that?
It's something that is shocking and is surprising because things like the Second World War and the horrors it consisted of is something that obviously people don't talk about because it is just so explicit and so shocking and so evil. But if you have the stomach to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, you begin to realize, hang on a second, who did this? Who did these things? People did these things. People did the unspeakable. People did the horrible. People did these horrors that we just hope never ever happen again. But you see, the key word is not horror. The key word is not unspeakable. The key word is people. And I think people underestimate that. I think people think, oh well, nothing like that will never happen again because we're so safe. We're so safe behind these closed doors. We're so safe behind our screens. We're so safe in our society in which we all somehow get a say. But like, if you really just think about it, what tips people over the edge is not from pressure. It's not from what tips people over the edge is, I think, mentality. I mean, look, how many people were doing that? Like, how many people was it in that reserve that was doing these kinds of things? It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Small battalion of 500 men, you said. People do what other people do. People will do what other people do. Mob mentality, this idea that people go in and try, but like, because they all have the Cain inside of them. We all have a small Cain at the back of our heads, I think. And it's evil, and it's horrible, and many of us obviously have trained to quiet it and to silence it, but we all do hate, as you said. We all have the capacity to hate.
Yeah.
We all have that Cain inside of us, and it only takes a small amount to push it to the front of our mind. Even if you think it's a good, it only takes a small amount of, drive, a small amount of commitment to be angry enough, to even be sad enough to drive that Cain to come forth and to show himself like that. That's a terrifying thought, that we all have a capacity, that Cain capacity, and it's a terrifying thought. And that book, Ordinary Men, just completely I feel exposed after sort of hearing you say that. I feel like this is what humanity is. I'm ashamed.
So you thought you were a good person.
It completely takes you off guard. Like, you could be watching, like, and it's just something to think about, I guess. Like, I guess that's what sort of all our episodes are like. You just gotta think about it. But if you honestly think about it, we all have that capacity to just do something evil.
Yes.
Evil. But we don't. Because of examples, because of growth, because of trials, because of all these different things. But like, and the reality is, it's because we all have that morality, I guess. But it's so easy to just forget about morality for a second and just be that, and that's terrifying.
Like, I'm sure you've had experiences where, like, you know you shouldn't be doing something, right? And maybe you don't do it right, but then like some excuse happens, and then you mess up or something, right? But it's not like you did that out of, I've changed my morals now, I'll do this. It's like you wanted to act immorally, you just didn't have the excuse at that time.
But now there's an excuse to be immoral.
Like, Hitler was not, he wasn't a driving force for this, man. He was an excuse. He gave everyone an excuse
to be wild,
to be murderous,
savage,
and be evil.
That is insane, like, because, and as you were talking,
And just think about the context, man. So you got like Germany. He's been screwed over by the First World War. They've been like blamed, right? As in like, oh, all this has been because of Germany, right? No, that's not true. Not all of that was because of Germany, right? It was everyone's fault, okay? World War One, okay? But it was like, right, all the problems Germany, okay? And they've got this country that's just seething with resentment. They had all these restrictions imposed on them. They couldn't exceed this military might. They couldn't do these things. They couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Their currency.
Yeah.
It's just like, what even was their currency, man? And they're just seething with resentment. Okay, for those around them. Hitler comes along, starts saying things they want to hear. It gives them an internal. Gives them an internal like pleasure, right? Some sort of like
an excuse to be.
It wasn't a good pleasure. It wasn't like the kind of pleasure you get when someone loves you.
Yeah, or a stand-up comedian. You know, it's not that kind of pleasure at all.
It's just like a dirty pleasure that Hitler gave to the people of Germany. As an excuse, they was like, oh yeah, so wait, so you're saying, yeah, I don't think we deserve this. Yeah, we should blame someone who's.
Yeah, we should.
What? Who did that? Jews. I know Jews. Yeah, sure, Jews. Yes, yeah, they're the bad. Yeah, yes. Yes, Hitler.
And it's just
I understand. Yeah, I'm catching your drift, man. I'm on the same frequency as you. Yeah, this wasn't our fault. It was their fault, and they should die. Oh, I see now.
and that's just
Here we go. Right, World War Two.
Yeah, and that's
commences.
It's just so insane to think like that was just the mindset, and and we like to kid ourselves, and we like to say, oh well, we'll never fall in that mindset. We can never do that. But like
The same.
you have though. Like people are always like, oh well, we'll be better, but you have, right? There's people who are always like exposing that little black part of you inside, that little dark spot in your brain and your heart that just like wants to be fed. There's always something in like that. I mean, everybody hates somebody because like there is that sort of mob mentality, and that's the thing. Like as you said, like that boy Hitler, it wasn't just like inside the hearts of like one or two men. Like I mean, that is magnified when like 500 of your brothers is beside you, all like smiling, all thinking the same thing. It only feels right for you in that moment to smile along with them, to chant along with them, to march along with them. That it only feels natural, and that's I think you can like. It's just human. It's like, look, we'll tickle that dark part in your heart, and we'll pleasure it. We'll give it what it wants. We'll fuel it until all of a sudden, every tiny dark speck in everybody's heart is exposed, and the nation is just blacked out. The nation is just horrible. The people that you represent are suddenly mass murderers. It gets so out of hand so quickly, and you can kid yourself and you can deny this, but like you can still see tiny bits of like that when people tell you to think a way you want to think, and you're like, actually that's a horrible way to be doing, that's a horrible thing that those certain group of people are doing. I'm going to stand with this person and hit to the Twitter and do whatever just to make sure that this person never sees like any kind of positivity in their life, to make sure that this person is being cyberbullied to the censorship, like just completely to the max. Like it's this festering, this little demon on our shoulder that's always whispering in our ear saying, wouldn't it be good if we just joined in? Wouldn't it be good if, you know, we did that? And all of a sudden what happens when we do that? Well, I mean, that person is completely gone, and we were part of a good cause. That I get noticed for helping like my brothers, or I could be noticed being patriotic, or I could be noticed doing something great for my country, or great for the people who see me as not being as great, and I can prove to them once and for all. It's this festering, this burning thing inside of us that just wants more and more and more. It's greed. It's filthy, as you say. It's this mine, so I can be better, I can be big, and I can be strong. And I think it is just about that kind of self, that what can I do to really fit in? What can I do to really try? And it's really scary. It terrifies us that we have this dark part in our heart.
Like, do you know, like the common saying, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Everyone says that, man.
But yeah,
it's like, yeah, I'm not going to repeat the Nazis because I know they existed. Ha ha ha. Really? Well, I'm pretty sure the Nazis knew murder existed before they murdered. But that's
pretty sure they had friends that were Jews as well.
But people don't know history. They don't know it. Right? They know of it, maybe. They're like, yeah, Hitler killed 6 million Jews.
Mm-hmm.
He did this on this day. This happened on this day. World War II commenced, and on this day it ended. Yeah. It's like, that's not what history was, man.
Yeah, and everyone
history is not the series of dates, man.
Yes, exactly.
It's a series of views.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Actions.
You can think about it. Henry Ford, right? And in his production, he was like one of the most successful businessmen in all of America. He was it was in the booming 20s, right? He didn't like Jews. And everyone's like, wait, what? You know, he sent out his bullies, as he called them, to go and find Jews. And Jews were, like, hated on by groups of people, like, just throughout the States, throughout Britain, throughout Germany, throughout all of Western culture. Everyone likes to think it was Hitler that sparked the hate for Jews. No, Hitler grabbed onto that idea that already existed and gave it the juice that it needed, gave it the hate that it needed, you know? Like, that's insane to me. Like, everyone likes to think that, oh well, Hitler was the one who told everyone to hate Jews. No, people like Jews were already kind of hated already by small minorities, but it was Hitler that brought those minorities, and those minorities came together, and as soon as you add a bunch of them together, it becomes massive, and then people are like, oh wait, I'm not part of this, maybe I should be, okay, I will be, and boom, tsunami of darkness, tsunami of sin, tsunami of absolute terror that should scare us and should shock us, and it does, and it should. It makes us think about like what kind of ideals am I following? What kind of people do I listen to determine who I want to be to the people around me? That's a scary thought.
I'm gonna say a few things, and then actually I've had this whole point here I didn't even touch, man. Should I go into that?
Sure.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast not too long ago. Right, the topic was actually about dragons, but this is unrelated, okay? But so he was talking about, the host was giving a story. There's these wild dogs in his neighborhood when he was growing up, right? And these wild dogs, and the pet dogs, the domesticated dogs, hung out with the wild dogs, and they're just like normal wild dogs for some reason. Even though they're domesticated, they're still wild dogs, and like. It's something about a wild dog. Like when you see a wild dog, it's not like, oh yeah, it's just not a tame dog. It's like it's a different beast. It's not like oh, look at the wee dog. It's, look at that thing with teeth. It has daggers on its face, and it's growling at me, and it's going to jump in my neck, and it's going to tear my throat out if I don't look at it the right way.
Run away.
That's what a wild dog is, man. It wants food, sex, and death. Okay, but look at domesticated dogs. Okay, we can dress them up in clothing, man, and they're like, ruff, ruff, ruff.
Most gentlest animal.
Oh, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's
playing.
Oh, fetch. Oh yeah, my dog, my best friend, man's best friend, the dog. Right? He would have thought it. Okay. What? But they act like just like wild dogs when they're around wild dogs. Why? It's dogs are inherently wild dogs, okay?
Yeah.
If dogs were left to their own devices, they would not be domesticated dogs. They would be ruthless animals, okay? You shouldn't trust a dog.
Hunting and pets.
You shouldn't really trust a dog, right? Because it's an animal at the end of the day, right? Like, people wouldn't want me saying that, but they're animals, okay? They're not like us, okay? But for some reason, when they hang around with us, they can sort of begin to mimic us, right? As I can say, people dress them up in their clothes, for goodness sake, right? And they're like, they interact with us the way we interact with humans, okay? We personify them. And it was sort of like, why? Do you really think we're any different, man? Do you think we're not good by nature? Okay, if you think you're good by nature, then that's a real weakness of yours. Okay, like we're not good, man. And I guess a few closing points. I'd just like to say, don't be thinking you're good, because anyone who opposes you is by default automatically bad, because you're good.
Don't be thinking.
And people who don't agree with you must be bad because you're good, right?
Yeah.
How else could it be?
Think about it. You had people in these groups of 500 or so Nazis, right? And say all those 500 Nazis. What could you do if you like? Oh, I'm a good person. I will be able to stand up to all of these evils. No, you can.
Yeah, people say that, man.
Yeah, people say, "Oh, wow, 500 Nazis. I would never. No matter how many. If you were in the middle of that crowd, yeah, no, you would do nothing."
Everyone says, "Well, I would have stood up. I would have said no." Everyone says that, but not many people said no in this example here.
And they were ordinary men.
And they were indeed ordinary men.
Title of the book.
Yes. Roll credits. Roll.
Definitely give it a read, though.
Roll reader's notes.
Yeah, definitely give it a read. It's very powerful. From what I've heard, anyway.
Don't practice what you don't want to become, because
Don't.
You'll be that person. You were the Nazi.
Oh, just to finish. There's this old sort of Indian saying, and there's this little boy, and he asks his grandfather, what makes a good man? What makes a good man? And I think the grandfather says, inside a man's head there are two wolves. There's a good wolf and a bad wolf. There's an evil wolf and a good wolf, and they're fighting each other. They're always fighting each other. And the son said, well, how do I make the good wolf win? You know, how do I? And the grandfather is like, it's whichever one you feed.
Yes.
You know, it's whichever one you feed. If you feed the good, the good wolf will win. If you feed the evil, you know, and it's just sort of asking, what kind of food do you give in your brain? What kind of food do you give in your heart? Look inside yourself and decide whether you think that the wolves inside your head, which one are you feeding? That's sort of the question that we're going to leave you with today.
Yeah, well, yeah. That was a good episode.
Yeah, very deep episode for you.
Yep.
Have a good evening.
Like, subscribe, download, Instagram, what? Hello. Goodbye.
Bye.